Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this scene. It's the middle of the night. The world is silent. The shadows stretch long across the walls. And suddenly, you awaken. You look at the clock. It's 3:14 a.m. Again. Perhaps this has been happening often. And maybe, like most people, you've brushed it off. Maybe you've told yourself it's just stress, anxiety, or the weight of an unsettled mind. But deep down, a question lingers. Why? Why always this time? What if this awakening isn't random? What if it's not your body waking you, but something much deeper, something wiser, more ancient, more connected? What if it's your soul, gently, yet persistently, knocking at the door of your awareness, whispering? You can't ignore this anymore. Bruce Lipton, one of the leading voices in bridging science and spirituality, reminds us that 95% of our lives are controlled by the subconscious mind. And it's in these fragile hours of the night, between 3 and 5 a.m., when the rational mind loses its grip, when the noise of the day fades, that the subconscious rises to the surface, bringing with it the echoes of everything we've buried, everything we've avoided, everything unresolved within us. In this window of time, your brain naturally slips into theta and delta frequencies, the same states accessed in deep meditation, in hypnosis, and in moments of profound healing. It's not just sleep, it's a sacred passage, a space where your inner world becomes more fluid, more open, more malleable. Greg Braden calls this space a point of deep connection to the unified field, the intelligent living field of energy that binds everything in existence. During these hours, your vibration, your emotions, your thoughts are not just echoing within your body, they're rippling out, interacting with the very fabric of the universe. You see, it's not your body that wakes you, it's your energy field, a field that's quietly, yet urgently, trying to correct something, trying to realign a frequency, to repair a disharmony, to bring your being back into coherence with who you truly are. And if you listen closely, beyond the ticking clock, beyond the restless sighs, beyond the swirl of scattered thoughts, you may hear it. A gentle voice from within, a presence, a knowing, saying softly, but clearly, wake up. Something needs to change. Something inside you is ready to be seen, to be healed, to be transformed. This is not punishment. This is not brokenness. This is a calling, a sacred invitation to listen, to feel, to remember. Because the truth is, the night doesn't break you. It reveals you. How often have you told yourself, it's just stress, or it must be anxiety, as you lay there, wide awake, staring into the quiet darkness between 3 and 5 a.m. It's what most people believe. A restless mind, a racing heart, maybe the consequence of too much worry, or a restless nervous system. But what if this is not a malfunction of your biology? What if it's not a mistake? The truth, one that very few are ever told, is that this isn't just about your body. This is about a dissonance between the life you are living on the surface and the life that your subconscious, your soul, knows you are meant to embody. Bruce Lipton explains this with astonishing clarity. By the time you are 7 years old, your subconscious is fully programmed. Every word you heard, every belief you absorbed, every experience of fear, rejection, or abandonment became a script. A silent, invisible, yet incredibly powerful script that your biology has been following ever since. And when you try to live outside of that script, when your conscious mind desires growth, abundance, freedom, but your subconscious is still holding on to fear, scarcity, and self-protection, an invisible tension builds, a friction between the life you want and the frequencies you still carry. This friction doesn't just disappear. You may suppress it during the day, distract yourself, numb it with tasks, conversations, noise. But in the quiet sanctuary of the night, when the rational mind goes silent, the subconscious takes center stage, and it speaks, not always with words. Sometimes with tightness in the chest, restlessness, a sudden awakening, as if someone is shaking you from within. It's not random, and it's not simply insomnia. It is your biology, obeying an ancient contract written long before you were even aware of it. A contract that says, survive, protect, repeat. But here is the paradox. The very subconscious that was designed to protect you often becomes the invisible cage that limits you. And the longer you ignore its signals, the deeper you sink into cycles of emotional exhaustion, energetic depletion, and unconscious self-sabotage. This is not punishment. It's not the universe being cruel. It's life, lovingly, yet firmly, inviting you to notice that the way you've been vibrating is no longer aligned with the life your soul came here to live. This is not a malfunction. It's a message written in the language of energy, a message that only becomes audible in the silence of the night. There is something profoundly mysterious, yet perfectly explainable, about what happens between 3 and 5 a.m. It is not random. It is not arbitrary. It is written into the very fabric of your biology, your nervous system, your energetic blueprint. In those hours, your body initiates a very specific process, a process guided by your autonomic nervous system, which seeks balance, regulation, and repair. During this time, there is a natural spike in the production of cortisol, the hormone responsible not only for waking you, but also for managing emotional stress that has been quietly accumulating. This isn't just a biological glitch. It's a biological intelligence, and there is more. In the ancient wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine, the hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are directly linked to the lungs. But this isn't just about breathing. The lungs, energetically, are the guardians of grief, sadness, and the inability to release what no longer belongs to you. Your body, your field, your very breath, is trying to process something that perhaps your conscious mind has been refusing to look at. Memories you've tucked away, pain you've minimized, loss you've never fully grieved, the unmetabolized emotions that weave themselves into the rhythms of your biology. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the subconscious mind never sleeps. It's always listening, always scanning, always comparing your present reality to the vibrational scripts encoded in your subconscious long ago. And when there's a mismatch, when your conscious desires growth, love, expansion, but your subconscious still holds programs of fear, abandonment, and resistance, something must give. That something is often the quiet discomfort of waking at these sacred hours, not because your body is failing, but because your field is trying to release, recalibrate, reprogram, something that your conscious self has yet to face. It's a sacred malfunction, a glitch in the matrix of who you think you are, designed to lead you back to the truth of who you actually are. Every breath that feels tight, every restless turn beneath your sheets, every sigh that escapes your chest at 3:37 a.m. is your body whispering, "There is something here. It's time. It's time to let this go." This is not just a biological event. It's a deeply spiritual one. Your subconscious isn't punishing you. It is attempting, with every fiber of your being, to liberate you from the frequencies of the past. Because whether you are fully aware of it or not, the body remembers, the energy remembers, and in the silence of the early morning, your being tries to do what your waking self often avoids. It tries to heal. There is something profoundly sacred about the silence that exists between 3 and 5 a.m., a silence that is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of something deeper, something almost mystical. In those hours, the veil between the visible and the invisible grows thinner. Greg Braden speaks of the unified field, an intelligent web of energy that connects all things, all beings, all consciousness, and it's precisely in these fragile hours of the night, when external electromagnetic interference is at its lowest, that your connection to this field becomes clearer, more raw, more direct. But there's a paradox hidden here. This deep openness can be a doorway to coherence, to alignment, to manifestation, or it can become a chamber of amplification for your deepest fears, insecurities, and doubts. If you awaken in this window, and your mind instantly floods with anxiety, with the heavy echoes of what is missing, what isn't working, what feels uncertain, then whether you realize it or not, you are transmitting those frequencies directly into the field. The field doesn't distinguish between what you consciously want and what you subconsciously ruminate on. It simply responds to your vibrational signature. And so the night becomes a mirror, but not just any mirror. It becomes a mirror of resonance, a place where what you think, what you feel, what you vibrate, shapes the invisible blueprint of what tomorrow will look like. This is not metaphysics dressed as poetry. This is quantum reality. Your heart emits a measurable electromagnetic field. Your brain generates frequencies that ripple beyond your skin. In these hours when the world sleeps, your coherence, or your lack of it, becomes the very language through which you communicate with the fabric of reality itself. But there is a truth, one that can be both confronting and liberating. The question is never, why does this keep happening to me? The real question is, what have I been feeding the field with? Consciously or unconsciously, especially when no one is watching, when the world is asleep, when it's just me, my energy, and the universe. Because whether we are aware of it or not, the early hours become a command center, a place where the invisible becomes the architecture of the visible, where the energy we emit begins to crystallize, first into patterns, then into experiences, then into reality itself. And perhaps the real wake-up call isn't just the one that jolts you out of sleep at 3:21 a.m., but the deeper call that whispers, are you creating from fear or from conscious intention? There is a secret woven into the fabric of these sacred hours, a secret that few are ever taught. Between 3 and 5 a.m., when your conscious mind is soft, when your defenses are quiet, when the rational noise fades, your brain shifts into theta waves. This is the same frequency state accessed in deep meditation, in hypnosis, in moments of profound spiritual connection. And in theta, something extraordinary happens. The walls between your conscious and subconscious begin to dissolve. The beliefs, the patterns, the programs that usually run silently in the background become accessible, pliable, open to change. Bruce Lipton has long explained this with deep clarity. The subconscious is not just a container of memories, it's the operating system of your life. And when you enter theta, you gain temporary access to the command center of that system. But here's the truth that is both beautiful and confronting. If you don't occupy this space, the space will occupy you. If you do not consciously choose what to imprint, the subconscious will simply replay what is familiar. The fears, the doubts, the limiting stories of the past. This is the invisible danger. That in the most powerful window for transformation, most people unintentionally feed the field with exactly what they do not want: worry, restlessness, the same tired echoes of lack, fear, and uncertainty. But the very same window holds the opposite potential, a portal, a doorway, a sacred chance to rewrite the script, not through force, but through presence, through conscious vibration, through aligned intention. And it begins in the simplest of ways, through breath, through awareness, through a gentle hand placed over your own heart, as if to remind yourself, I am here, I am safe, I am connected. From this space, new words begin to carry power, not empty affirmations, but living frequencies, declarations that speak directly to the subconscious, and even more, directly to the field itself. Words that become vibrational codes, like, I am safe in the unknown. My mind and my body are aligned with my soul's purpose. I release what no longer belongs to me. And then, with your inner vision, not hoping, not wishing, but knowing, you begin to see, to feel, to embody the version of yourself that already lives the reality your heart longs for. Not as something distant, not as something someday, but as something unfolding, right now, within the field, within the quantum, within you. This is not imagination in the way the world defines it. This is quantum instruction, a command sent through the frequencies of coherence, clarity, and emotion. Neville Goddard, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, they all point to this, that the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. To the field, they are the same. And so, the silent question echoes, if this space is this powerful, then who, or what, am I allowing to write the script of my life in these hours? Because whether you realize it or not, the portal is open. The only real question is, who steps through it? The version of you tied to the past, or the version of you ready to create a new future? Imagine this for a moment. It's not just a bedroom you awaken in between 3 and 5 a.m. It's not just a physical space with walls, furniture, and shadows. No, in those sacred hours, you are stepping into a room of mirrors. But these mirrors do not reflect your face. They reflect your patterns. They show the invisible architecture of your vibration, the beliefs you carry, the emotions that pulse beneath the surface, the quiet agreements you made with fear, with doubt, with survival, often decades ago. Bruce Lipton speaks this truth with profound clarity. If you do not consciously reprogram the subconscious, your biology continues to run on autopilot, not because you are broken, not because life is against you, but because your subconscious is designed to repeat, to protect, to replicate what is familiar, even if what is familiar is suffering. And so, the early morning becomes a mirror, a quantum reflection, a portal where the field gently holds up an image, not of who you hope to be, but of who you have been vibrationally, not as punishment, but as an invitation. Every restless thought, every wave of anxiety, every sudden ache in your chest is not random. It is the echo of frequencies long stored in the tissues of your body, in the electromagnetic field of your heart, in the unseen layers of your being. You are not being haunted by the past. You are being shown the residue of the past that still vibrates within you. And here, the universe offers you a quiet yet radical question. Will you continue to vibrate the story of what was, or will you begin, finally, to embody the frequency of what can be? Because the night is not against you. The wakefulness, the discomfort, the whispers at 3:47 a.m. are not signs of failure. They are signals. Messages encoded in the very fabric of your biology, designed not to punish you, but to liberate you. The mirrors do not judge, they simply reflect. And as Bruce Lipton reminds us, if you are not programming your subconscious, it is being programmed by default, by fear, by protection, by scarcity. This is not spiritual poetry. This is biology. This is quantum reality. This is the sacred mechanism of how the unseen becomes the seen, how vibration becomes matter, how energy becomes experience. The question is not whether the mirror works. The question is, what is the mirror reflecting, and are you ready to change the reflection? There is something quietly sacred, almost mystical, about the fact that life wakes you in the deepest part of the night, not to punish you, not to disturb you, but to remind you of something you may have forgotten. Bruce Lipton speaks a truth that resonates far beyond biology. We are biological programs until we choose, consciously, to become quantum creators. And perhaps there is no moment where this choice becomes more visible, more tangible, more urgent than in those fragile hours between 3 and 5 a.m. Greg Braden echoes the same wisdom through the lens of quantum reality. The field does not respond to what you ask for. It responds to what you are vibrationally, especially in the silence of the night. So, what if this awakening isn't a problem to fix, but a password, a vibrational key, a subtle but powerful invitation from the universe itself? A sacred code whispering, come back to coherence, come back to alignment, come back to the truth of who you are beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the conditioned story of limitation. This moment, when the world sleeps, becomes the perfect space to do what the noise of the day rarely allows, to witness what is surfacing, not with judgment, not with resistance, but with the eyes of someone who understands that discomfort is simply a messenger that says, this is what needs to be released. This is the belief that no longer fits. This is the version of you that is asking to be outgrown. The invitation is subtle, yet profound, to pause, to observe, to breathe, and to remember that the patterns rising in the silence are not your enemies. They are portals, gateways into a deeper alignment with the field, with your own heart, with the future that already exists in the quantum, waiting to be chosen. Because the universe is not waking you to punish you. It's not waking you because something is wrong. It's waking you because it is in the quiet, in the darkness, that the light of consciousness has the best chance to be seen. And as the soft breath of dawn approaches, as the world prepares to stir, you are left with a single, sacred question. Will I continue feeding the frequencies of the past? Or will I step into the vibration of who I was always meant to become. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is the real meaning behind waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. It was never just about broken sleep. It was never just about anxiety or stress. It was, and has always been, a quiet, persistent invitation from life itself. Bruce Lipton leaves us with a truth so simple, yet so powerful, that it changes the very way we understand ourselves. We remain biological programs until the moment we choose, consciously, deliberately, to become quantum creators. And Greg Braden reminds us with absolute clarity, the field does not respond to what you ask for. It responds to who you are vibrationally, especially when no one is watching, especially in the silence of the night. So if you find yourself awake, again, in those hours when the world is wrapped in silence, know this: you are not broken, you are not lost, you are not being punished. You are being invited to witness what is surfacing within you, invited to listen, without judgment, to the whispers of your own soul, invited to transform discomfort into clarity and fear into conscious, living intention. Because the universe does not wake you to disturb your peace. It wakes you because in the darkness, when everything external fades away, the light of your consciousness finally has the space, the silence, the stillness to be seen. And maybe, just maybe, this is the most sacred truth of all, that the hour you once thought was a curse was always a key back to yourself, a key back to coherence, a key back to the forgotten truth that you were never meant to live as a prisoner of the past, but as a conscious participant in the creation of the future that is not waiting somewhere far away, but waiting right now, in the field, in the quantum, in the silent vibration of who you are, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the story. And as the first light of morning begins to stretch across the sky, the question remains, lingering, soft, but undeniable. What are you choosing to vibrate now? The echoes of what was, or the frequency of who you were always meant to become?